What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Loreena McKennitt. Making sure my phone doesn't fall here, and we're back for the final tune on the 1994 album The Mask and Mirror. Once again, thank you to Michaela, who has made available not only multiple physical releases, but other albums that I have in digital form. And I think there was a consensus that maybe going back to Elemental, her first album, would be the next step, so that's my plan. Do let me know if you have a different opinion. But yes, the final tune on the 1994 album The Mask and Mirror is Prospero's speech. And though I don't claim extreme erudition in this regard, I have long been interested in Shakespeare and have done some studying of his work. I used to have this, it was like the Oxford Pelican of Shakespeare's work, meaning it had essays analyzing his work, about his biography, and then it had his plays from both folios and the quarto, in many cases side by side, so you could see the differences in the way that they were edited, and in some cases, lines removed or rewritten. And I spent a lot of time going through that, so while I don't have the ability to keep all of the nuances of all his plays in my mind at any given time, I have read just about all of them at one time or another, and a few of them many times, like Hamlet, Macbeth, and Romeo and Juliet. But yes, the play, The Tempest, features the character Prospero, and I believe this is the last play Shakespeare wrote by himself. And there are two different speeches given by Prospero, the main character, that my understanding is a lot of scholars see as Shakespeare essentially speaking to the reader and saying his time had come to an end, that he was essentially going to retire, that all his actors and these characters would melt into air and the revelries would come to an end. And that's mostly from the first one. Then there's a second one about something about how he's going to ask for freedom in the same way that that he might provide some relief or ability to change in the other direction. So yeah, I think there's one speech in particular, two speeches over the course of the play from Prospero that scholars and literary theorists have regarded as Shakespeare essentially saying, my time has come, I'm hanging up the pen, and all these tales and characters that I've created, they will, like spirits, melt into the air, and our time will conclude. So given that this is the last track of the album, it feels like that might be conceptually relevant here. I wouldn't even be surprised if Loreena gives her vocal qualities, her expressive vocal ability, to one of the speeches specifically, which would certainly give it a very ethereal type of quality beyond the actual source. So of course it might not be the actual lines from Shakespeare, though I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Either way, I think that is the reference at play here. So let's give it a listen. This is the final tune on Loreena McKennitt's 1994 album The Mask and Mirror, and it is Prospero's speech. I knew that was going to happen. I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. My phone seemed like it was sitting a bit perilously. This is just a new issue that I have to deal with. I think I need to replace the cord that I use to keep it plugged in while I shoot. In any case, the point is, I got about 5 seconds into the song and my phone fell from its perch, so I immediately stopped it. I'm going to rewind it to the beginning now, but yes, I only heard maybe 5-6 seconds of the tune before I had a calamity with my recording equipment. So let us now start the song again. This is Loreena McKennitt, Prospero's speech, the final track on her 1994 album, The Mask and Mirror.
I must be
would anything other than a remarkable and evocative and atmospheric tune be the ending of this album? Of course not. Of course it's exactly that. It feels like this ethereal incantation. It feels like I'm transported to the world of immaterial stories that come into being, provide some insight, and then dissipate, melt into air. It feels like we're in the world of stories and dreams, and everything, as beautiful as it is finite, and it comes to an end. So I feel like she gave musical expression to a famous speech within arguably the most famous writer in English in his, what's the right word? His swan song. Like, I feel like the feeling and meaning of that speech in that play in Shakespeare's catalog comes to life here through Loreena and her music and her voice, especially her voice. And in fact, I should say her voices. It sounds like she's being overlaid, multiple vocal lines, mostly in harmony, but some of them going a bit longer than the others, some of them putting a slightly different phonetic inflection on a particular part of a word. So there's a bit of polyphony, even if they're mostly in line with each other, mostly harmonizing. And it's absolutely beautiful. And again, I do think that is one of those speeches, but expressed in a way that I've never heard it. So yes, just remarkable. She really has an incredible voice, that sweeping, vivid, and resonant bass, obviously another major feature. This one more stripped down, not featuring as many eclectic instruments as a number of the tunes on the album, but it has this stark simplicity and beauty as a result. So an absolutely stunning tune to end a nearly indescribable album. Loving the Loreena journey. Thank you again to Michaela for providing this CD, another CD, a live performance of this CD, as well as other albums, and again to Yvonne for sending the first Loreena tune that I reacted to, and to all those who've been following. Chris, shout out to you. So yes, looking forward to Elemental. Let me know what you think of this, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.